And we are live. What's up, everybody? Daniel Allison, the average dude, showing you my beverage. And Jenny, Winny, what do you have?
I just switched our places. Diet
Oh,
Coke.
oh, wow. That kind of messed with my head a little bit
I
there.
know, but you're on the wrong side.
No, yeah, we've got to be on the right side so that we feel comfortable.
It's all about me being comfortable. And can I just start off telling you something that made me uncomfortable real quick?
Let's go right for the uncomfortable.
Okay.
Yes.
I had a dream last night.
Okay. Now I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. But it was Jenny, Winny, and the average dude. Okay. Yeah. And I was on, and we had two different guests. Well, we didn't think that they were actually going to show their face for some reason. So
the faceless guests.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the second guest that came around, I don't know. It was almost like I was so mad at you because you were out walking on the street, Main Street in Spartanburg. And
yeah.
And I was like, I need Daniel to be here so we can talk to you. And this guy was just like, he was so mad that you didn't show up. And then, somebody was talking to them. It was just like, but it was so real.
Now let me ask you this: what did it mean, Jenny? They don't dreams mean things? Do you have any idea of what dreaming about Jenny, Winny, and the average dude? What it meant? What did it mean?
It meant that I don't know, Daniel.
yeah. We don't know. Hello, Melissa Springer. Maybe she knows.
Melissa, I was just thinking about you this morning. I was thinking, where's Melissa been? I know you came on, I think last week, but
yeah. Well, we always love our regulars. We'll call them our regulars, and the comments that they post, and that's what we have today. We have a group discussion. We're going to be talking about dreams. It sounds like. And figuring out what those mean. It's funny that you mentioned that. You mentioned you were so mad at me.
Oh, I was so mad at you.
And it got me to thinking about communication. Mm-hmm. Because communication, whether we're at work or we're working with each other doing something like this, saying what's on our mind is a big deal. Mm-hmm. Because if you hold things back and don't let it out, you start building up resentment.
Yeah, I'm still mad at you, actually.
Yes. See, that's where I was going with that.
Get off right now and start walking down the street and see if you can, just catch up with me.
Yeah. But I do. I think it's important to find ways to communicate and get things off our chest. I was real bad at that when I was younger, right? Mm-hmm. As I've gotten older, I've learned to kind of...
You're better at it. You're still not a perfectionist at it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you still might hold a few things in.
I do. And with some people, it's worse than others. But I do. What I wanted to say to you, Jenny, is if you've got something on your mind, I need you to tell me. You're right. Mm-hmm. If it's something with the show, hey, average dude, Daniel, Dan the man, whatever it is you want to call me.
Dan the man.
You need to say what's on your mind so that we know, because communication is key to working together. All right. That's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay, good.
All right. Joe got in. Thanks for the link. Jenny's dream is interesting. Remember, dreams are our subconscious way to deal with challenges.
So what Joe is interpreting my dream as is Daniel is a challenge for me.
Yeah. That could very well be true.
Yeah. Well, it could be.
So, Jenny, speaking of challenges,
mm-hmm.
we started out this year. We're in the year 2023.
Yep.
And are you someone that has goals for the year? Do you have things that you want to do? Maybe they're not specific goals, but that's kind of what we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. Do you have some type of goal that you try to meet?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know per year. I always seem to have a goal ahead of me, whether it's, when I set it, I'm not one of those that's like, okay, it's January the 1st and I'm going to be, Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
No, I set the goals like whenever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. The reason this was kind of on my mind before we got started today, number one, it's the end of the quarter. So if you're in sales, we always break it up. Joe will know all about this. Right? You've got to hit your quarterly goals, quarterly targets. So you always have those associated with work. or I do. But I was on something, and I've been participating a little bit in. It's called Twitter Spaces. Are you familiar with Twitter?
Yeah.
So Twitter has something, and I think LinkedIn has a comparable, and I'll have to look at it. But I do like trying to get out of whatever it is that I've gotten used to try new things. And this Twitter, it's they call it Twitter Spaces, but it's an audio deal where you've got two people talking just like we are talking now. And then if Melissa wanted to say something, we turn her audio on and she can speak, right?
But she doesn't have to actually be on camera? Or
no, she wouldn't have to be on camera. And now Twitter doesn't have the video, but it's just another way of bringing people together to have conversations. And the one that I joined this morning had two things I wanted to say about it. So number one, they were talking about goals and the different types of approaches. Some people, even folks that we've had on the show, they have very specific, rigid goals, right? They're going to make X number of calls. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. That's not me. I am more, I have a certain, I call it sprints, right? You've got marathoners who have this long-term vision, and they're going to keep running until the race is over. For me, I like the 50-yard dash, but the key for me, and I think the key is different for everybody, is to run a lot of 50-yard dashes, right? So every day you run a sprint or run as many as we can. So I was curious, not only you, but maybe some folks here in the comments, what type, are you a sprinter or are you a marathoner, or do you like a 5K, something maybe in between?
That's a good question. Because, when you said it, it made me think of, the first guest we had for 2023, Laura Louise. And she talked about having goals, bodacious goals. Remember?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I was looking back to see because she really motivated me, and she had goals with like every single thing. It's like in how she took her bodacious goals and put them into actions, and then put them into, it's just like, and that's my part. Well, that's my problem, is I might be a goal setter. Am I a follow througher? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you're like me, you get a lot of energy, and that's why I like to sprint. Melissa says she's a sprinter too. I get excited about a new race, new competitors. Maybe it's a new course. Yeah. Even at Twitter Spaces, what was funny about it, we've been doing this, and so I did my own Twitter space. That made me nervous. My voice was cracking.
Wow, good for you.
My voice was cracking. I didn't know what I was going to say. There was nobody in there. It was great. But then also when we, joined other people's, and it's the same thing. So a big part, I keep kind of bouncing forth between goal setting and kind of stretching ourselves, but still what I want to say is that trying things like Twitter Spaces and it's you get nervous all over again, And
so I was going to ask you, did you get nervous?
I did. I knew they said, "Oh, okay, we have another guest here, and he's going to speak." And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I got to say something, and the pressure. It's like, oh, I've got to say something. I'm not the average dude on Twitter, so I've got to say something that's really, profound, and I need them to think something up. How backwards is that? I know we all fall into that same trap. They don't care. They don't care, and they would much rather, in lieu of me trying to say something profound, just say what's on your mind. Say how you really feel. Let's see what some of these comments say here, Jenny. Let's see. So Joe, he says, I actually do both when the situation calls for it. Flexibility with approaches to solve goals is important. I agree.
And I can see, and Joe, you can call me out and say I'm wrong. But Joe, I picture you as being a very detail-oriented, and yes, you are flexible, but I can see that you'd be like, that's the goal, and I'm going to nail it. I mean,
well, now that would be interesting to hear his. We'll wait for his reply.
Yeah,
but I actually can see Joe being kind of in the middle here, like he says. Now, I don't take him as being someone that's necessarily. He's in sales, right? And oftentimes salespeople are, like Melissa says here, she's a sprinter. You
Yeah.
know? Now there are some folks that are in sales that have this methodical approach, but it's so much about energy, right? I mean, and running a new race instead of running the same race gives me new energy, and that's what helps a lot of times is that energy.
Yeah.
So you're a planner.
He's saying this about me. You're a planner, not a. That's me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that's the problem with me is that I can get motivated and then I also lose steam. You know what I mean? It's just every day, not sure what steam's going on in the engine, you know?
Yeah. Where the energy goes, right? And
I stay tired.
Yeah. Well, that's not good. Why do you think? So that's a big part of it for me too. You know, having this energy, really, it's not about the goal. It's not what my sales goal is. It's how am I going to have the energy to be effective when I do these things?
Yep.
So for me, it's getting enough sleep, getting exercise, reading a good motivational book, garbage in, garbage out. It's all of those things. If I do those things, work harder on myself than I do my job, right? Then a byproduct of that is being effective.
Let's see. Wait a minute. I'd like to see. Yes, that is true, Jenny. And as I got wiser, we have to adjust to the situation with love and sure fulfillment of the goal at hand.
Yeah.
So were you saying I was right, Joe?
Oh, yeah. You want to hear that again and again, don't you?
I just wanted to make sure he said I was right. And now, you know what? It's like, I guess I do set a lot of short-term goals. You know what I mean?
Sprints.
Yeah, I do. Because there's something to be said about achieving it. You know what I mean? It's something that's doable and achieved, and then you can move on. Even if it's something small, you know?
Sure. Absolutely. I call it the next best action. You've heard me talk about that before.
Yep.
But when I don't know what to do or where I'm going or where my energy is, I think to myself, what is the next best action, the NBA, next best action I can take? Because it really comes down to winning moments, right? I mean, if I can win the moment over and over again, well, then good things are going to happen. So to your point, winning the moment might be, hey, I need to make my bed. I need to clean the dishes. I need to clean things, just chores, things that we need.
Why are you relating that kind of stuff to me? Because I'm
Jenny, I've seen your house before. I wasn't going to say anything, but it's an embarrassment to be your cousin.
You know what? I was going to tell you too. This made me think about my son. Okay, he's 26. Yeah. He works a job for UPS, in the early mornings, and he's doing his own business too.
Yeah.
And I have the opportunity.
We need to have Gregory on here, don't we?
Yeah, we do. He actually texted me, and this was his question to me, and I don't think he'll care if I say, but he was just like, I just want to know how you cope with stress.
Ooh, boy, that's a big question.
Okay, yeah, but I was like, well, what is the stress? Okay, it's his worry of not getting what needs to be done, because there was so many things that were on his plate. And you know what? I gave him the advice that my dad gave me. Prioritize, and eat that elephant one bite at a time. I
like that. You know what I like to say? Triage. I love that word. Triage. Yeah. Write down everything you got to do, and then rank those things as, hey, who needs the attention the most? What is the most important? So on that list for me right now, got taxes. I got to do my taxes.
Yeah.
But I write that down, and then for me, it does help. Write down everything that I've got to do or that needs to be done. I've got a list right over there. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. Yeah. But then go through it and triage. Who needs the attention? Who can wait? And then I say, okay, what's my next best action? Right?
We actually interviewed somebody one time, and they said on that list, and it might have been Laura Louise, I can't remember, but let's say, okay, taxes is a number one priority, but then something else, you can have more than one number one.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what they said, or That's what they said.
Right. Well, if you're in a hospital and there's been an incident, we've got several people that need immediate attention, right? And then the key would be to get started on one of them, right? We've got to do something to help. These need attention. I need to touch this thing. It's not a person, but it's a thing, and get something done on it. Another thing I want to say, let's look at these, and then I've got a couple of thoughts here.
Joe said, key is to meet people where they are, where they and not where we want them to be. This was right. Life and business. We waste so much time trying to push people when we should pull people in a loving way so they see the solutions. I agree.
I think that's an excellent point. Yeah. In lieu of trying to convince someone that we've got this new mindset or lifestyle and trying to tell them, oh, you should do it, what's the best way to lead?
By example.
And lead by example. If they see you with a big smile on your face, you seem to be making money, you have great energy, they're going to ask you, right?
Yeah.
They're going to ask you what's changed. But trying to be like, yeah, I've got it figured out, and trying to tell that doesn't work for many things, does it?
No.
What do we got? What does Melissa have here?
We were talking about, prioritizing our lists. We categorize them in blue chips and white chips. Blue chips being the most valuable and important, or was it the white chips?
Oh,
well, Melissa, we've got a predicament here because you might be doing the white chips first, and it's
that's the problem.
That's what has been wrong the whole time.
Yeah, we were working on the wrong patients. We weren't sure which ones needed the attention. But it's I think everyone's different. I do think that it's a good idea to have these sorts of discussions, right?
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
We all have our specific needs or different goals or what success means to each of us. But when we talk about it and we hear other people talking about their situation, what happens for me is I'm like, well, you know what? It's a good idea. Maybe I need to implement that.
Yeah.
And then that extra little bit of energy that comes from a conversation or whatever the case might be, it gets us started to win that moment. Next best action. Hey, that's what Melissa said on there. She likes to do the blue chips. Maybe I should do that. We put it into practice. We run us a quick sprint. See if it works.
And see, I like that. I love because even that's what I've told you. Every time we interview someone.
Yes.
I take away at least one thing that I might quote it. I might try to do it. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? It's like we all have something to learn. And that's what you and I were talking about. It's like, okay, so, we're through the first quarter of 2023. Where are we going? We've been doing this for over a year now.
We've been doing it a while. Yeah.
Yeah. But, and we're talking about, kind of like what is our
vision?
Yeah.
What is our vision? What is it that we really want folks to identify with this show? They tune in because.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
Because I feel like it's,
But it's a metamorphosis is what I would say. I would say we don't know. By the way, is there a guest today? Joe, maybe you're the guest.
I was actually going to say that, Joe. We threw the link up there to come on in. And because I feel like, we haven't had, look, I was looking back, we hadn't had you since you and Jonathan came on.
I'm going to take that comment as he doesn't want to hear us chit chat and he wants to hear a guest.
I do too.
So, hey, I tell you what, Joe, what we were going to do today, we were just going to kind of chit chat with everyone and possibly talk to some of the folks that are on the live with us, bring them up and have a conversation. So if you want to click the link and join us here, Melissa, the same for you and anyone else that's listening. Maybe you're down in the coffee shop and maybe I just saw you and I know that you're watching. Maybe.
Yeah, and where's Jonathan today?
Jonathan, I don't know. I think he had an appointment of some kind. So we're going to forgive him for not tuning in. And hey, this is like a Friday. Most people.
It is. I mean, tomorrow's Good Friday. Everybody's off. They're already starting their weekend.
So my feelings, you know what? I'm so glad that we have the people that did join us. And
this is what I was saying. It's like, Oh, Melissa said she would if she wasn't in Fort Lauderdale and it's her baby's 18th birthday.
Wow, look at that. And Melissa couldn't have an 18-year-old. She looks too young for that.
Oh, I love Joe.
Now, see, that I was looking for the valid. You know what? Thanks, Joe.
Joe, we just needed it.
I do want to talk about this, and I think that Joe will appreciate this. This is just something I've been thinking a lot about, and I talk about it a lot, and that is networking. What is networking? So I run, I help run this networking group, and a lot of times people think about network. Oh, that's a leads group. I go there, and people are going to give me a lead, and it doesn't work that way.
No.
What? And so I thought, well, what is it exactly? And so here's the formula, Joe. You tell me what you think. So it's information, info plus action equals opportunities, right? Yeah. So when we think of the network, we don't think of leads. I didn't get a lead. I get information. And the reason this is important is that's what's happening, especially in business-to-business sales. Give the link to get on, if you will. Okay, well, scroll up to the top of the comments.
I'm about to post it again. There you go.
There you go. Beautiful. See, Jeannie knows what she's doing. I love it. But I want to say my formula. I'm kind of excited about this because if you're the average dude, and when Joe gets on here, we'll talk to him. If you're the average dude, you need a great network.
But tell me that formula again.
So information plus action equals opportunity. Okay. And now under that same, I haven't figured out, I wasn't good with this complex math equations, but proximity is also very important. So once we have an opportunity, that leads to proximity, and that's from proximity, that's where relationships are. And so if it's a business relationship or whatever, so I'll give you an example of how I kind of think about this. There's a new bicycle shop bicycle manufacturing company moving to town. Yeah. So I heard about that through the network. So the number one thing, you want to get that information sooner.
First.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
So you think about, what information do I need? Well, I need to know about new people moving to there. Well, if you wait until everybody else knows, it's like applying for the job that's in the paper, right? Yep. You need somebody that, hey, I heard that Waldrop was hiring a new salesperson. You need to go talk to Waldrop before you compete against everybody else.
Yep.
So that's the timing of that information. But you find out what that is. And then you say, hey, does anybody know someone with this company, right? And then you start doing your LinkedIn research. So this is the action kind of in harmony with this network, right? Mm-hmm. So I emailed the guy. I sent him a text message. I'm sending all this out. I went to the site where they're going to be moving in. He wasn't there. I talked to some people that were there.
You're smiling though, so something good happened.
Yeah. It's getting good. So then I shared that information. So I'm also contributing to this information flow. See my hands? Woo, woo, woo. And so then this Monday, I said, I haven't heard back from him. I actually did talk to the CEO of this company moving to town, but that's not enough. You got to take more action, right? So I said, based on the call that I had with him, I said, I think he might be in town this week. I just said, is it worth a shot? Yeah, we're going to do it. So I went.
You thought it because you were like standing outside with binoculars.
Yeah, I was stalking him.
Hey, and Daniel, keep talking. I'm just going to send Joe this link too. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So here we are. I get to the site. They've got the plant locked up, so I can't go inside. They've got a sign on the door. It says, nobody is to come in here. Right? They're really rejecting any type. They're not taking application. It's closed down. I get it. So I went back to the car. So I sent him a text message. I said, well, if he's inside, and but about that time, somebody walks out of the building. Now, this guy's facial expression, he did not want to have a conversation with me. He wanted to pretend that I wasn't there. And so, again, this is the sort of thing. All I said was, is Jeff here? Is Jeff here? It's not some complicated, You know, you don't have to think of this beautiful word track or anything like that. It's just simply asking the question.
Yeah.
They said, I think so. Yeah, the guy said, I think so. Let me go check for you. Long story short, he goes back in, and the CEO of the company, he says, hey, I just got, he shows me his phone. I was just reading your text message and somebody came in and said you were out here. That was it. And I thought, you know what, this is how it works, right? It's not a direct lead. You've got to take action on the information. You've got to share that information. And information is the currency, so to speak, in that network. I may not have money to give you, but if I've got information that helps you make money, well, you go, that's valuable.
Absolutely.
Right? But I love thinking about this. I know it's probably not as exciting for everyone else, but focusing on who do we need to know to get the information that we need to find opportunities. And that goes for all types of opportunities, not. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
I was just something you said, because Joe had put in there, did you have value and love in that equation? And you just said that, though. I mean, maybe not the love part, but the value of the information. Like, it's valuable. So that kind of fits into your equation is what I'm saying.
And that's kind of a work in progress, right, Joe? So I'd love to get, but what I wanted to do is simplify what is actually happening. Joe from Boston.
No, it's Boston.
I'm gonna bring Joe on now.
From Boston.
There he is.
It's Boston Joe.
What's up, Daniel and Jenny? How are you both?
Doing well.
How are you?
I'd like to get back to that dream, Jenny. That sounds interesting.
I was so mad. I'm telling you, he was walking around downtown Spartanburg, and the guest is so mad, and Daniel's just like, and I'm like, what's going on?
Hey, that might mean she's got some pent up resentment towards the average dude. Is that what it means, Joe?
I don't think that's what it means. I think that maybe Jenny just trying to figure out maybe she should be, interviewing some of these guests, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's going to be Jenny Winny.
Daniel just needs to have the little question mark sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have the question mark sign.
I like the way you think, Boston.
So, hey, Joe, tell me, are you a goal focused person? I know you're in sales. Do you get hyper focused on your quarterly goals?
Yeah, I would have to say that it's nice to have goals, and I think it's nice to also, when you have goals, make sure that you align with whoever's giving that goal to you, right? If you work for a company. But if you work for yourself, I mean, setting goals is important, right? You want to know where you're going to go to. That's what we have a GPS for. You need a beginning and a destination, right?
Yeah.
But I think, Daniel, it's not important to let the goals dictate you, because if you go out of care, say for instance that you have 20,000 more just to get to this goal, and it means that you compromise yourself and accept something that you shouldn't,
and that you normally wouldn't.
So are you willing to give up that integrity and what you've built that took a lifetime just to achieve that goal? I don't think so. Because guess what? I've done it. So every issue that I have, I probably have done that. I think we've said I'm not a saint. I try to be less of a sinner. And
I like that. That needs to be on a t-shirt. I'm just really trying to be less of a sinner.
Yeah, we party on Saturday night and we go to church on Sunday just to,
Yeah.
Hey, now Melissa's got a great question. I'm gonna let Joe handle that.
Our
Are
goals.
goals and quota the same thing, Joe?
So a quota is usually a number, and a goal is the pathway towards that number. Right? Yeah, that it's probably better to think of it that way, because it's like setting out, say you live in South Carolina, you want to go to Los Angeles. The destination is the quota. You want to get there, but the goals, you still have to plot the roadways. You have to stay overnight probably once. You have to take calls during the day. You have to deal with customers. So, achieving those, like you said before, Jenny, about
Yes.
how do you eat an elephant? You take it little bites. So I think those are the goals. So if we think of micro goals to the macro quota, I think we all would do better.
That's true.
So that's I think it's like you can't be perfect, but you can progress towards excellence. Whole different mindset.
See, because in my mind, I wouldn't know. And what I would have thought for goals and quotas is like, this is something that we really want you to try to get to. Might not happen. And quota is almost like you got to hit this number.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But a quota isn't. It's usually fixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where goals can be modified.
True.
Right? Achievable, not achievable. I don't know if that's answering Mel's question or not.
Well, maybe Mel can tell us. I've got a question for Jenny, though. So thinking about goals, you're not in sales, but you kind of are. You're doing the reels because you're selling clothing. When people come into the boutique, you're selling. So when you just started, was there a number? Hey, we got to hit this number or we're going to lose money. That's a goal or a quota or something, isn't it?
Yeah. And we did. And it's funny because I was like, we've got to get this. We've got to get this. When we first started, and some of it wasn't necessarily like, to not lose money, but just for myself. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like, at what point is it not a hobby?
Yeah. Now, in the beginning, Jenny, when people were buying stuff, did that feel good? Hey, we've got stuff and people are coming in and they're buying our stuff. Did that feel good?
It did, but honestly, it's funny, and it's still this way today, even though I'm not in working the store as much. Well, really not at all, but it's something about that first sale. If I can have that first sale, then I can breathe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like it's just almost.
You mean on a daily basis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get that first. Somebody bought something. Okay, we're in the black today.
Okay, yep, we got it. Yes, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Somebody bought something, so it's not it's not zero, because that's that's some terrifying feeling.
Oh yeah, I knew somebody one time, Joe. We cleaned windows together, right? We were a little window cleaning company, and we had to make at least enough, but we wouldn't get breakfast until we made enough money where it felt like, hey, we're not just out here spinning our wheels, right? You gotta make a little before you spend a little. I know you just started a new job. Tell us about your first sale.
Well, I want to go back if I can,
Sure.
Jenny.
Yeah.
So, Jenny, when you're talking about somebody coming into the clothing, what you have for a business, here's the quota and goals again. So the quota you had was to sell a certain amount, right? But I know you're a loving, caring individual. And so the person walks through your door. Is your goal based on the quota, or is your goal really based on making that person feel the best way they can with what the apparel and all the accessories that you sell them? So now you got them as a long-term customer. Isn't that really the goal?
Oh, that's definitely the goal.
Right.
The number in the head is for self, just to feel better. But yeah, because and all of us, the ones that work there, we're very honest. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm not going to sell it to you just for the fun of it, because you won't come back.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So
you're going to have somebody tell you the truth that looks like, ugh.
And they may not even tell you the truth. They might just not come back. And then
exactly. So yeah, no. And I might go over and beyond sometimes out of my way to my own detriment, but I feel good at the end of the day. I always feel good because I'm like, okay, well, I'm a pleaser, as Daniel knows. And that's like, I'd like to try to make everybody happy and feel good.
Yeah. But in making people feel good, that's the joy that we're all looking for, right?
Yep.
And you'll make your number. See, here's the thing. People think that if you give up something like that, that you're going to give up something. But guess what? If you make that person feel good about that certain apparel that they wore, I know that I watch your videos, and within a minute, you've changed into like 6 or 8 different outfits, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like Superwoman.
Right. So if you got them happy about one outfit, then they're going to be happy about the second outfit.
Yeah.
And the third. So in essence, by allowing a reallocation of what goals mean,
Yes.
that you're going to hit your quota.
You're right.
You're gonna make your numbers. So I hope.
That's
Danny,
true.
what did you say? Now I'm trying to get back to what you.
Yeah. So you just started a new job here not too long ago.
In November. Yeah.
November, not too long ago.
Yep.
I want to know how that experience is going. You're working with a new company. Do you enjoy it? Have you made your first sale? Tell us how it's going.
Yeah. So it's a medical device manufacturer, and with medical devices, typical sale, even if you got it in tomorrow, because it has to be validated, go all through this process. It takes 6 months to a year or more to make it come to fruition. That right?
Long sales cycle.
Long sales cycle. I haven't always been like that. I've sold other things, in the past where you make it, you make it right there. So it takes. That's why this is important to, when you deal with a customer, to know it's a long-term situation, that the goals have to be divided out into micro goals to be able to satisfy the customer along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to answer your, the job's going well. It was a merger of 3 different companies into one.
Wow.
So I didn't have any customers like with other jobs. I've had, a book of business and you build from that. This is everything's from scratch. So it's a little different. It takes more time.
Is it like a wide range of medical devices, or is it like just something like a specific?
I mean, it's so when you go into a typical hospital, these devices are everything from diagnostic that's made with plastic and then put together in an assembly of electronics and everything else. Or it's just single use, that you get into a box of a pharmaceutical and it has a plastic apparatus that you deliver something like an applicator, right?
Yeah.
So it's a single use.
Okay.
And then a wearable now, there's wearable devices. I mean, I have, a Fitbit, but now they're making wearable devices that, people with certain conditions can monitor, not just, the blood, all the vitals that they need.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Because it could affect them, critically. So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
What did Melissa say? I'm in acquisitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. Melissa, I can feel for you because I've been through, this is not the first one. I've been through a number of them. And unfortunately, this is really not an acquisition as such. It's like a company came in, a holding company to form 3 companies into one. So yeah, it is in a sense, but it's still, it's better than some others I've been, because some others, a company acquires you and they try to either take as much as they can out of that business and just get rid of the people
and get rid of everybody. Yeah,
exactly. So I've been in those too. And I would say, somebody asked me the other day, you always be ready. Like, in other words, not always looking, but reinforce your value. So both of you know this, that the more value you have for a company, the less apt you're going to be the first one to go, or you won't have to look over your shoulder every day, right?
Yeah.
And the barometer of that is your customer.
Yeah.
Your customer is going to tell you, Jenny, you see it right off the bat. Daniel, you probably see it fairly quickly when you're doing, the type of business you're doing.
Yeah.
It takes time to map it out, to install it. And when you turn the switch on, they're going to have AC or heat or, whatever they're doing.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about what you just made me think about something that's been on my mind. So a company, a sales force, it includes everybody from the technicians, the guys that are installing the equipment, the engineers that figure out all the math and how big the unit needs to be, all these things.
Right.
But then we say, okay, what is my position? And I think about it like a football team, right? Hey, we depend on you to catch the ball, right? He's a slot receiver. Hey, he's got to have good hands, quick feet. He needs to run good routes. Don't drop the ball. And to your point, always be ready, right? So whatever it is your skills are, you better be ready to perform those skills at any time. So for me, I'm the connector guy. I'm the door opener. I can't, if I'm nervous, I still got to make the call. If I'm uncomfortable, I still got to get out of the car, right? I have to perform my skills to the best of my ability, and that's my barometer on how I'm performing, right? If it's so easy to get into this or that, no. If there's a call that needs to be made, give Daniel the phone, and he better start dialing, or why is he on the team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and so clarity. I think that we talk a lot about self-awareness. I think that it's just very important to say, these are the things that I am, a little above average, right? These are my strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Write those things out. These are the things I need to be doing. Forget everything else. Just do those things and always be ready to do those things, right?
But like even with Joe, what you said though about like you want to be that asset to the company that they don't want to lose, and it made me think about just our local newspaper in Spartanburg and how I never advertised with them. But then the right salesman, I did because of that salesperson. Now, then he quit and I quit advertising. You see what I mean? But I'm just saying that it does, a lot of that goes, you want to be that person that the company sees as like, we need Joe because customers love Joe and Joe gives to the customers.
Yeah, I mean, it could be simplified with your favorite restaurant. Why is your favorite restaurant your favorite? Is it the food, the ambiance, the service, the fact that it's easy, accessible to you, the prices is right? It all has to add up. But if you had to pick maybe two, I'd say the food and the service.
Yeah.
The price, you don't mind paying for it if it was worth it. The ambiance, sure, if it's a couple extra lights here and there, and maybe it's near an ocean setting or lake setting or something like that. But the service, the caring part of it, and it goes back to what you were saying, Daniel, is that, I always kind of bring up the IQ, EI, and SI, right? Those three-legged stool things.
Yes.
Is that you can have the intelligence, but like your slot receiver, right? Yeah. He also has to have the emotional intelligence that if a route goes off a little bit or he hits somebody on his way, that he can make up the difference and still catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If he was a slot receiver that only thought about his job, his performance, his paycheck, he wouldn't have the team to back him. And we already know enough of teams that happens, right?
Yes.
You get one player that's a superstar and the rest of them, he doesn't.
They're just like, we're just here.
But if you have a player that is a performer and somebody that understands the team and wants to get the team, like, for instance, I came into this new job. I made it perfectly clear that I certainly needed a certain amount of money in compensation, but I wanted to be the one part of the team that turned this company around.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm working not only for myself and my family, I'm working for every person in their family in this place.
Yes.
So that's the point that makes the difference, right?
Yep.
You both know this because, again,
you're just in it for you. It's the bigger picture. It is. I know it. It's like even when the pandemic hit and they shut us down, I was proactive for the people that work with us. Mm-hmm. I mean, otherwise, I wasn't just about me. You know what I mean? Of course, I wouldn't, but I knew that they counted on a certain amount of money. That's why I had to do certain things. Do the PPP and all that kind of thing. So.
Those are the game changer abilities, though, what y'all are talking about. It's okay. Yeah, we depend on you. You're not going to have a job. You're not going to be on the depth chart if you can't perform these skills. But if you want to be somebody that helps us win, then you need to validate and see the talents of everybody and see how it works as a team and not be the guy, that's the I in team, because there is no I in team, right? But it's very easy in sales, and Joe, you can probably speak to this. It's very easy to fall into that. I did this and I sold this, and it doesn't happen without the rest of the team, right? I mean,
well, it's like when I started the new year. I think you might both know. So it's turning the me into we thinking for 23.
Yeah.
So the flip over of the M to the W is transformational, because now it's not about you. It is about you, right? You gotta put that oxygen mask on, as they always tell you when you're flying, so you can be in a better to help somebody else, right?
Yep.
But it's more than that. So it's a way of thinking that you're not going to lose. See, that's what everybody thinks, they're going to not succeed if they help other people. And there's a definition of love, right? To will the good of the other person. So we have to really get back to it. Like, how many people will the good of the other? And if you're a team member that does will the good of the other, you're gonna want to be. They're gonna want you on their team, right?
That's right.
Be the friend that you want to be. Really, it comes down to that. We all want great friends, but are you being the great friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man, I could talk on that subject for a while, because we will call people out. How can that person not call me back? That is not right. And then we won't call people back. You know, I mean, we have a double standard on things, and we're like, oh man, that's not right when it's them. But then we forget to look at ourselves, and we're doing the same damn thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a name for that, one way, but you know, they make streets out of names of people that do that. But you know, it's
yeah.
It really it comes down to what you just said, Daniel. You know, it's trying to do the right thing. It's not that we all can do the right thing, or we're in maybe a point in our life we don't see it clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But it does go back. Somebody asked the question: would you rather be a wise sage or a king?
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we know people that would say king, right? Because you're in control. You can get what you need. You can get what you want. But the wise sage is the one that doesn't have to depend on all those other attractions to fill up the void that they've created on themselves, because it's the money, the pleasure, the sex, everything else that we think is going to make us happy. But it actually tears us apart, because you can never get enough.
Yeah.
The next thing. Yep. Oh, I'm glad you said that. I forgot about that question. I remember that. Yeah.
Remember the story of the fisherman and the tycoon?
Yes.
Tell me,
that, Daniel?
Tell me again. Maybe we have somebody that doesn't remember like I do.
mean, it's real quick, but there's a rich fellow that, you know, he's very successful, and he goes on a trip to Costa Rica. And, you know, one day he's just sitting by the seashore, and this fellow's coming in with his boat, and it's only 1 o'clock, right? And he goes over to the where all the vehicles, all the fishing vessels come in, and he says to the guy, he says, it looks like you did pretty good. You got some tuna here. And he says, yeah, did pretty well. He said, are you done for the day? He says, yeah, I'm done. He says, well, what are you going to do now? He says, well, you know, I get up a little later. I fish to what I need. I get what I need. You know, I turn it in, get my money. I get back with my family. I'm with my kids, my wife. We then have a nice meal. Afterwards, we go out. I play guitar with my friends at night. And, you know, I think that's pretty good for me. He says, really? He says, you know, if you invested in 2 boats, you get more money. And then, you know, you get more money, you can invest in a fleet. I'm making it really simplified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, then you get a fleet, then you have a canning, you know, so you can get your fish in and have your own processing plant. And then, you know, when you have your processing plant, then you can go to another part of South America, and you might even go to, you know, the world. And every time the millionaire said something, the fisherman said, and then what? And then what? You know, and then what? So, you know, and then you said you can go to New York Stock Exchange, and, you know, you put your company on there, and then, you know, you'll be a millionaire like me. And then the fisherman says, and then what? He says, and then you take a vacation to Costa Rica and you enjoy life.
And you do the things that you're doing anyway.
Yeah. Now it's time to enjoy life after all that.
He already was enjoying life.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So very much.
So true, though.
A lot of what goals and these sorts of things, what is it for? It's for others, or how we're going to appear in others' eyes. And so then people get stuck in these roles. Oh, I'm the guy that does things, right? And whether they're having fun doing it or not. And not to say, look, everybody's got their thing that's what their personality is. But sometimes it's so rigid, they're just running on the hamster wheel because that's what they think they're supposed to do, because people are looking at them and, hey, I'm supposed to be this guy.
Yeah.
And I fall into the trap too. It's like, are we doing things because we want to do them and we enjoy them? Are we doing things so others will say, oh, he or she is good at that, or that's what they are, when people don't care? I mean, what greater waste of time could it be for
and
chasing?
as I get older, and it's funny because it's like all my friends, they say it to me now because I say all the time, we're making memories. We're making memories. I don't pass up an opportunity to do something that, and think, well, I don't need to do that. I don't need to spend the money on it or whatever. Like, my daughter and I we're taking the train to New York next week.
Now,
I got invited to go to the Queen's Cup steeplechase. Gonna do it.
Nice.
Gonna wear my hat. You know what I mean?
Going to the steeplechase.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that'll be fun.
I know.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm making memories.
Good
I mean, I'm not getting younger.
No. And I have, the truth is I can go for a walk, and I'm grateful for this. I can do some simple things and actually really enjoy it. If I'm in the right mindset, I can just walk on a new street right here in town, or look at something, or study something, or I always say, see things in a different way. Things that I've been looking at, look at it in a different way. See the small things, the big thing. I get into that. But the truth is, I need to have more experiences where I get out. So there's a balance with all these things. Yeah. So
it's funny. Everybody wants to get to someplace. Like they work all their life hard to get to retirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You work 5 days a week hard because you want to get to the weekend.
Yep.
I mean, it's more. It should be that you work every day and have little moments of the day that you can take out sometime, like the fisherman, right?
Yes.
He did his work until 1 o'clock, and then he enjoyed life every day. He didn't have to look forward to retirement. He got what he needed. It's
about that next best thing. That's why it's like, I'm trying to, it's funny because my husband and I will talk sometimes about, oh, maybe we'll buy another house. I don't want to. I want to be content in this house. We're content because now it affords us to be able to do other things.
Well, the question would be, why would you buy that house?
That's right, because
and maybe there's going to be some excitement, but if you really look at things and really say, what is my true intent? What is the good? I mean, without doing it, you free yourself up. You don't feel that rigidity. You have options and choices and freedom.
Yep.
And I think that's worth a lot, because the more sometimes we take on, the more rigid we have to become. And that's life is about freedom and choices within our, moral compass and guidelines as well. Right.
Yeah. It's funny. I appreciate a lot of different religions. Right. So, there's a saying on that: to be truly happy and contented, you must let go of what it means to be truly happy and content. So that was Confucius that said that.
I like that.
And really it's trying to be like, you're going to take that trip with your daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have more fun. You make more memories, and expense. Sure, it's going to cost a little bit, but you're right. You don't need another house. So we had 2 houses at one time when I was growing up. My father built a house, but the issue was, it was fun. I'm going to tell you, as a kid, it was a blast. But for them, 2 insurance, maintenance. Somebody broke in after a while because it was a vacation home. We weren't there all the time.
Yeah,
it's just, again, there's a saying: the more possessions you have, the more you're possessed by them, right?
Right, because you have to work to keep them up, to take care of them.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. If you have a number of cars, we know people, right, Daniel, that have this. The one car saying to the other, "Well, he hasn't driven me for a while."
Yeah.
You got a house. You get a house someplace. The house is asking you, come to see me.
Mm-hmm.
You got a boat. You got that. I mean, in other words, going back to that wise sage again, that person understands themselves. When you tackle your soul, when you appreciate the little things in life, like good friendships.
Yes.
Right. When you appreciate and what you're blessed with and what you're grateful for, that's the victory that you want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right? I agree completely.
Yeah, that's the victory. So that's what we should be after when we, make goals in our life. And it goes back to what you said, Jenny. Yes, I'm detail oriented. I have goals, but I don't like that. I don't let that take over.
Yeah.
We know we need to do 55 when it says 55, but can you do 60? Can you do 65 if you're safe and it's a highway? Of course, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, it's more like remember the Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
Yeah.
Been a while since I've seen that one.
Yeah.
I know, but I remember a line from it. It's like, remember there was a code of ethics and there was a code that pirates went by. And then one of the guys says, that's more like guidepost.
It's like a guideline. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. I mean, they're still pirates. No, that doesn't really matter. But, you still, you were built a certain way. Both of you were built a certain way. We're all your listeners are built a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It's to know your limitations, your strengths, your weaknesses, your limitation, and be curious enough to take that extra step.
Yep.
Always be developing, like Toastmasters, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
They always push you.
I've got an analogy. I haven't thought it all the way through, but I think about if we were Play-Doh, right? And we get pushed through the Play-Doh factory, or we get pushed through a shape. It's no surprise that if you push it through a square shape, what do you get on the other end? I mean, to a certain degree, we have our DNA, and then we have external circumstances. That's the shape. You push, and we're the Play-Doh. You go through the shape. Oh, I'm a square. Well, you're not actually square. You're Play-Doh that went through a square shape, right?
Joe, did you think he meant Plato?
That's right. I did.
I know. What? Socrates and Plato and
Plato.
I thought he was going to quote some Plato for us.
I know. I was like,
no. This is the average dude talking here. We're not going to do any Socrates or
Plato.
Yeah, Plato, the mushy stuff that we push through things, but I do think when we see that, because I think about it a lot, in a lot of ways, we don't have a choice in who we are until we see that we're not the shape. We just went through that shape,
right?
And then there comes responsibility.
Yeah.
It's funny when you said Plato. One of Plato's quotes is the greatest wealth is to live content with little. That's Plato, right? So that goes back to what you were saying: is know thyself, right, and be true to yourself. I think that's Shakespeare. But if you have to also, right, like you said, is that so? You hit on a lot of things, Daniel.
Yeah.
So. In other words, genetically, we're made a certain DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're inclined to do things. We can modify it. I think you had a speaker on that said 50% of what we act upon is genetics, and 25%, roughly. These are all rough things. 25. Yeah. It's a Harvard professor. I thought you might have, but 25% is what you can change, right? You can modify. And the other 25% roughly is outside influences affecting that choice.
Yes.
So that's nice when you think about it in those terms.
Because we're hard on ourselves, Joe, right? You're looking, man, why did I do that? And why am I like this? And the truth is you're like that because you went through a square shape and now you're a square. But then you can say, what new shape do I want to be? Because there's freedom in that ball of Play-Doh, right? I mean,
yeah.
See, and once we see that, then we can forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we made, and then accept the responsibility of, okay, now I have the freedom. I see why I'm this way, and now I can be whatever I need to be, right? I can make the changes and adjustments.
Well, as Huey Lewis, the grand philosopher, said, it's hip to be square,
I like that.
So here's the thing. Even Plato, right? You get to choose that little slider that goes, so the different shapes, round, square, triangle.
Yep.
So you can control to a certain point that guide. Okay.
Yep.
I know what you're saying, Daniel, and you beat up on yourself a lot. Both of you, and you really shouldn't, because just think about it. Most of it's genetics, right? So we're going to act a certain way based on our family, based on the way we grew up. You can modify some of that, but don't be so hard on yourself. So, look, if you make the same mistake over and over again, that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like insanity defined by Einstein, right?
That's right.
Expecting different results. But if you did something because it was just something that happened and you learned from it, right? Then that's a good thing.
It is.
That's a good thing. Learning.
And you move on, and you're better for it, knowing you won't do that again. I mean, really, honestly, it's
Well, I talk about these sorts of. I'm aware of these things. I think it's good to be aware, but you're right. If anybody, we need to make sure we're going to need us, right? I mean, if you get down and talk down to yourself and it actually makes you. When I say be self-aware and call it like it is, it's not about making yourself weaker. It's about making yourself stronger. Because you say, you know what, I did do this and I am this way, but all that matters is now, and I'm gonna make the right decision now. And moving forward, we'll be good to go, right?
Well, you like math, right, Daniel?
I do.
Right. So the common denominator in any relationship is what?
Daniel.
Oh yeah,
us, right? Yeah.
I said I like math, but I got that one wrong. I don't like math. I was kidding.
The common denominator.
E equals MC squared. Yeah. I'm not going to throw anything difficult at you, but
He's like Plato.
Well, that's Einstein. E equals MC squared. But the point is to know thyself. It really has to go back into you, right? Don't beat yourself up.
Yep.
Be the better person. But wherever you go, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, wherever you go. If you went to India, it's still you, even though you're in India, right?
Yeah.
You're going to deal with the language. You're going to deal with the currency. You're going to deal with the people.
Yes.
But you're still you. How you deal, like goes back to what you guys said. How you want to deal with that is, do you get somebody to help you?
Yeah.
Did you make plans before to go to the hotel?
Yeah, right.
Jenny, like when, did you make plans already to go where you're going to go?
I did.
And, can plans fall through?
Yes.
Expect them to fall through, and if they work out just the way you made it, it's a bonus, right?
That's right. It's great. Yippee. And you know what else? And this is something I just thought of, and then I know we're going to wrap it up. But you know what I always say too is that we're hard on ourselves. And I think would you say the things to your friend that you say to yourself? Like if they did the same thing that you did, would you berate them the way that you berate?
I would feel bad for my friend.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, and we should love ourselves that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, we're gonna see it and we're gonna give them advice and we're gonna tell them, oh man, all that matters is now, forget it, let go. But then when it's us, we sometimes have a little tougher time doing that. But man,
but you said that, Daniel, you said that. You said that earlier when you were talking, is that you have to show the example so other people can trust you and you have credibility, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like putting an air conditioning system, heating air conditioning system on a building and you've never done it before. Remember when you first started and now where you are now?
Right.
The difference is you have credibility. Right? You have built up all this book of experience that you can bring an example. You say, hey, yeah, this reminds me of something I did with this. And you know what? This is almost the exact same situation. And this is how it turned out. This was a place down in Greenville. And I put this in there and they're better off for it now. Like you have examples that you can relate.
And you can back up what you're saying. I mean, you've got
And I tell you, just thinking about, a lot of folks on LinkedIn and social media in general, hey, I've got this workout program. I've got this, I've got that. And they talk a lot of, I think it's really just the energy, right? Sell me by who you are. Mm-hmm. And then I might say, well, what is he doing to feel like that all the time? Right. I mean, so working on just being the results of this personal development stuff, it should be obvious, like, hey, this person's got good energy, this person's doing this person's doing that. And then you don't have to talk about so much about what it is you're doing. Mm-hmm. It's more like people become inquisitive about it, right?
Yep.
So it's remember that movie Wolf on Wall Street?
Yeah.
So remember, sell me this pen. Remember he said,
yes.
Yeah.
Sell me this pen. and everybody's like doing the features and benefits of the pen.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the point. The point is, what can you do with this pen? Did you sign a contract for $1 million?
Yeah.
Right? Did you help first time owners of a house buy
Yeah.
their first house as a married couple? Right?
Yes.
Was this the pen that signed the Declaration of Independence?
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, this vision of what could you do with it, the things.
Yeah.
The things I've got to say this real quick. I'm enjoying this conversation, but so yesterday, I think it's important, and I like to go out and I'll show it to you. Just bought myself a brand new journal. Now you can't tell, but this is genuine leather, Jenny.
I believe it, Daniel. I believe it.
But what happens is, hey, you know what is to become of the average dude?
Mm-hmm.
We're writing the story, and when I journal, I write how I'm feeling, what I'd like to do, what happened today. But it's you're speaking to yourself and as an observer, right? And this gives us really good perspective on how it actually is. I love there's something about a new journal because it's like that pen. Who knows what's going to happen to this pen? Who knows what's going to be written in this journal? But it's going to be my life.
Yeah, it's a book that hadn't been written yet.
It's the unknown, and it's the story will be told of the average dude, of Jenny Winny, of Joe, by the actions, decisions that we make and take each day, how we think, right? And so this is my way of trying to keep that top of mind and know, hey, I'm writing the story. It's my decision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's great to reflect. Look, the best person is the one with humility and reflection.
Yeah,
right? That's the wise person that you don't have to take what you were to think about where you're going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Marshall Goldsmith, he had a nice little post in LinkedIn, and it was about recognizing the present. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Can't deal with the past. We can learn from it. The future, we can't really decide, how that's going to go. We can plan for it, like you're going to do your trip.
That's right.
But the present is a gift. So enjoy the present, like this present moment. I couldn't be more grateful.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the moment.
For you too.
It worked out great. We're grateful for you. We went about 8 minutes over, but it was worth every minute.
It was. I mean,
hey, and so
let's walk away inspired.
If you're listening, if a lot of people listen, your last day of work, let's have a great afternoon. Maybe we're going to sell something, have some great conversations, connect with people, and let's finish the day strong. So,
yeah, good.
It's good. So make the most out of each. Carpe vitam. You ever hear that phrase?
No.
Seize life. Carpe vitam. Not just
carpe
diem.
Not just carpe diem. Yeah.
Seize the day, but carpe vitam. VITAM. Seize life. Every day seize life. Yeah.
I like it. Hey, have a good one, everybody.
Okay.
Let's roll.
I love it.